The Minister of State for Grand Bahamas sharing the government's vision for this northern island in the Senate today, happily searching for leads into the death of a man whose body was discovered here on Grand Bahama.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening as senators continue their debate on the 2017-2018 budget in the Senate, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama shared the government's vision for this island over the next 5 years. Tonight he says the revitalization of the Locaia Strip tops the agenda. Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator Kwesi Thompson, outlining the plans for Grand Bahama over the next 5 years. Thompson says as a resident on this island, he is sick and tired of hearing about Grand Bahama's potential and believes that now's the time for this potential to be realized. He says when it comes to the government's vision plan for this island, the #1 priority is to open the Locaia Strip in the shortest possible time.
The former government announced just prior to election that a deal was made for the purchase of the 3 hotel strips. As it turns out, there was an agreement for sale of the property. However, the potential buyer had not presented specific plans on management and operation of the hotels and casino. The redevelopment and reopening of the Locaia Strip is a major priority for not just our office in Grand Bahama, but I believe it is a national priority.
Thompson says the government knows all too well of the impact the closure of the strip has had on Grand Bahama. He notes that he is also aware of the plight of Port Locaia's tenants.
The tenants should be assured that we were elected to bring relief and will not rest until we are able to do so. I recently met with some of the vendors in the Port Locaia marketplace and the straw vendors, and I've committed to keeping them informed about our progress. I have also committed to continuing our meetings with a view to working with them through this difficult time.
He says the second plan is enhancing the tourism product and revitalizing the iconic tourism properties on this island.
We must tackle the difficulties with the International Bazaar, the Royal Oasis, and Xanadu. We will be working closely with the present owners. These properties should be sold to the appropriate persons who have the vision and capital to develop these properties. We must be proactive in our approach, even if it requires providing incentives and tax concessions. These are iconic locations in Grand Bahama, and until we see movement, we have not fully recovered.
Tackling the high cost of electricity on Grand Bahama also ranks high on the government's agenda.
I confess that this will not be an easy challenge to overcome. The time has come to allow businesses to include solar energy as part of their development. It is essential, particularly for job creators, to access electricity at prices that will make Grand Bahama attractive for investment.
In further outlining the vision plan for Grand Bahama, Thompson says the establishment of the Investment Promotion Board, the Bahamas Investment Unit, review of the Incentives Act, and restoring the Jumpstart program are among other initiatives. In other news, the Minister of Health made his first official visit to Grand Bahama on Friday and toured most of the major healthcare facilities throughout the island. Following his tour, a press conference was held at the Rand Memorial Hospital where he gave an overview of his assessment. Natalia Hall was there.
The Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Dwayne Sands, says he is impressed with the work being done by the Public Hospitals Authority and the Grand Bahama Health Services. He believes that Bahamians should be proud of the healthcare system on Grand Bahama.
It's a unique system where there's an absolutely holistic approach to healthcare, with the central hospital, Iran, being tied to a number of peripheral clinics, many of which are being upgraded.
The minister toured the Rand Memorial Hospital, the various outpatient and community clinics in Freeport, Hawksville, 8 Mile Rock, and West End. He says there are significant upgrades on tap for the Rand Memorial Hospital.
The cafeteria with the connecting corridor, the physician's headquarters, for the sleeping quarters for the house staff. There's renovations planned in the imaging department for the acquisition of a new CT scanner and MRI, which will do many things in order to improve diagnostic abilities in Grand Bahama.
And as it relates to the clinic in the community of West End, the health minister says that clinic is expected to be open in the next 30 days.
It is a facility that has spared absolutely no expense in terms of providing value for the Bahamian public, and is configured with a site for an ambulance, which has been purchased and which will be deployed from that site. It also has quarters for doctors and nurses, and it will provide many services for West End, inclusive of trauma services.
The minister says the government has made a commitment to move along with the primary health clinic in the Lakaya area, which was introduced by the former administration.
Basic work that's being done is more site evaluation, inspection, doing the ground preparation in anticipation of ultimately moving into the full construction phase. So of the clinical areas in Grand Bahama, again, that's going to be very, very helpful in terms of moving from the existing facility to that site, but that is still a considerable ways off.
Dr. Sand says overall, the healthcare infrastructure on Grand Bahama is well positioned to manage any challenge. It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Well, during the recent victory celebrations hosted by the Free National Movement Party on Grand Bahama, supporters shared their vision for this island. With a clean sweep by the FNM of all 5 seats, they expressed what they hope will happen for the nation's second city going forward. As FNM supporters turned up in large numbers to hear from the leader of the party on Saturday night, many say they are excited about the way forward. Grand Bahama has had its share of challenges, and residents believe that much work is needed to make Grand Bahama grand again. Resident Marco Carey believes that first priority should be given to hurricane victims, while Vernay Grant believes tackling the high unemployment problem should be on top of the government's agenda.
Well, first of all, we have to repair. Still, plenty roofs need to repair. So that's the first thing we need to do, because persons are calling, talking about our roofs are caving in and everything. So that's the first thing. Then we can get Grand Bahama back on its feet. So first of all, let's get all the people roof fixed, because it's just too much people out there. Still, roof need to get fixed.
Well, I think employment is one of the most critical things that Grand Bahama is in need of. That is the only way we'll find our economy growing again. And so I'm looking forward to the economy growing. And so I believe that what should top the agenda now is growing the economy. Sustainability.
Business owner Louis Mizik says he believes it is important for the restriction that has been placed on Grand Bahama to be removed. He supports the government's plan to ensure that Grand Bahama sees economic activity from east to west.
The whole island was locked into depending on Freeport. Grand Bahama needs even more. Grand Bahama needs an airport and a harbor locally owned by the Bahamian people. We're the only island in the Bahamas that don't have one. And so the economy has been locked out of economic development because the supply and demand of the essential infrastructure doesn't exist. But the ecotourism will marry into tourism, gravitating towards the rest of the island.
But these FNM supporters say that they are confident that the government will get it right over the next 5 years, and notes that it is important for residents to understand that it will not happen overnight.
Until things become settled and we know budgetarily what we're going through and where we're off to, then we'll get a better understanding of how we can go forward. It cannot happen overnight, but it can happen if it is taken consistently in stride.
We started out right with the people in mind, and all we have to do is to include the people into the idea, because no government knows everything, and they include people's ideas.
Switching gears now, police are conducting investigations into the death of a man whose body was found on Monday morning. The body was found through a track road on Pioneers Way. When our ZNS News team arrived on the scene, police officers could be seen moving through nearby bushes through a track road conducting their investigation. ASP Teresita Pinder provided the media with an update on the scene.
Shortly before 7 a.m. on today's date, police were called here to the Explorers Way area through a track road where the lifeless body of a male was found. At this time, police cannot say the reasons or cause of death, but an autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. We are in the early stages of investigation, and we cannot say at this time what happened here.
Well, officers of the Bimini district arrested a male after a large seizure of ammunition on Friday, June 23, 2017. Reports are that shortly before 7 p.m., while on routine patrol on South Bimini in the area of a marina, officers searched a blue and white 22-foot unregistered vessel docked at that marina and discovered on board in a compartment 489.9 millimeter rounds, 50.357 rounds, 250.40 rounds, 50.44 rounds, and 390.45 rounds of ammunition, totaling some 1,239 rounds. Well, a 33-year-old Bahamian male was arrested and taken into police custody and is expected to be formally arraigned before the magistrate court early this week. Stay with us. There's more news right after this.